Good evening, everyone. My name is Mihir, and I am the Chief Commissioner of Student Election Commission here at IIT Madras. I, along with my co-commissioners Adra and Saket, would be moderating this soapbox. I'll put forward the format of this soapbox. First, we'll begin with the presentations of the candidates, which will go around for 7 minutes. After that, we'll move on to the cross-questioning round, wherein every candidate will have we'll be asking 3 questions to the opponent with 2 follow-ups each for every question. A sincere request to the general audience to please maintain decorum and follow a code of conduct. Please do not heckle or disturb the candidates while they are speaking, as this will be a wastage of our time as well as candidates' time. Okay, fine, please keep quiet and please maintain silence. Since it was decided from a coin toss about who will be going first, so Dheeraj won the toss and he decided that he will be going second and Santoshi will be going first. So yeah. Okay. The other thing is you'll have to look.
Hello. Hello. Or wait, it's very odd. It's not greatly audible. Hello. Yeah. So hey guys, I'm Santoshi, and I'm running for the post of Cultural Affairs Secretary Literary. I'm from the batch of 2019, Department Metallurgical and Materials Engineering. So to begin with, let's go into my vision. So starting with what my vision for culturals is. Culturals often is a rejuvenation for a lot of us. And Sarang is our cultural festival and we hold pride to it. I want to revive Sarang, rejuvenate culturals, and our teams and our contingents require a lot of rebuilding. And rebuilding is what I plan for contingents. Moving on, recognizing talent is something that's most important, and I focused on that in my manifesto and culturals when you see into my manifesto. And then infrastructure. When it comes to infrastructure, culturals is this space where we have so less of infrastructure and resources, but we have a lot of talent here. And revamping infrastructure is something that I plan on doing. And moving on, Sangam. Sangam is our cultural hub, and reforming Sangam is one of my major visions that I hold for this year. Okay, so now moving on to my manifesto. Let's start with Sarang. So if you go to Sarang, I propose to bring in Sarang NFTs. And why? It's sort of something that we take away, and it's something that we hold along with us for years to come. And then we have Mardi Gras Memoirs. Mardi Gras Memoirs is to bring back that nostalgic trip for both alums and students, and it's a way for us to give back to alums. And then the final point that I propose for Sarang is something called as Graffiti for Good. And the idea behind Graffiti for Good is that every year we have our own social campaign, and this year I want to take it a notch up higher and move outside of the walls of INSTI and take it to the Chennai Corporation. So the next point in my manifesto, or the section in my manifesto, is inter-IT and contingents. This year we'll be hosting inter-IT culturals, and we'll be also expanding our contingents showcase to other cities in alum meets and chapter meets. That's called platforms to perform. Our contingents will be going to cities across to attend chapter meets where they will be showcasing their talents. So this is inter-IT and contingent itself. Now moving on to infra and digitization. We have so many resources that's out there in public, and we have so much access to things, but it's never put out in one place for our contingents to have access to. So it starts with cultural footprints, where we'll be introducing something called as the non-academic transcripts. Just like how we have academic transcripts with grade cards, we'll be having a non-academic transcripts with PORs and your cultural achievements. And then moving on, Cultopedia, a digital repository with everything cultural and the resources that you would need put together in one place. And Makerspace is something where we'll be expanding the infrastructure and the inventory spaces that we have right now. So this is infrastructure and digitization in itself. Now moving on, about Sangam. I'll be expanding NCA and LTAP. A lot of you right now would be attending NCA, NSO, and all of that. The portfolio of courses that you see in NCA right now is so limited. What we'll be doing, we'll be expanding NCA in itself, and also expanding LTAP to Indian art forms. Next is Sangam Streets. So Sangam Streets is an effort to put out our cultural showcase on the streets of INSTI and also bring in that setting. Next, we'll be issuing Freshie Club passports. The idea behind Freshie Club passports is it's sort of to incentivize people to not just be a part of events, but also take something forward for every event that they attend. And expanding esports. I'm assuming a lot of you game here, and the esports community in INSTI is an ever-growing community. For the community, we'll be introducing an esports inter-hostel league, and also we'll be introducing inter-IT esports. Moving on, PG cult. Almost 50% of the institute population constitutes of PGs. What does culturals hold for them? PG cult is an effort to bring in PGs into the cultural ecosystem. Moving on, about culturals itself. What about culturals? The visibility and the awareness about culturals is so little, and 10% of the institute crowd is often what the cultural system itself sees. I want to open up culturals for all, and by that, I want to propose cultural projects where anyone can propose a project. Both students and clubs can do that. Cult Olympics will be a day full of events, which will be mini tasks for people to try out and also experience every club's proposition. And then Open Fest will be a fair where anyone can put up a stall, and by that, literally anyone. And Shamata will be a series of events where the contingents would not be allowed to participate, and only the GSB can do so. And GSB excluding the contingents, I mean. And Kshetri Divas will be a day filled with showcases from sabhas and samitis, filled with cuisines from each and every sabha. And the final point that I want to stress on is recognition. Culturals, we have so much talent in here. We have a powerhouse. And what do we do for recognition? We have to expand the recognition that we have. And for that, I introduce Magnum Opus and the Institute Cultural Award. The Institute Cultural Award will be a parallel just as to how Blues holds it here. Moving on, about my credentials. To start with, I've been the classical night coordinator in team professional shows. I brought in Malvika Sundar this year and also started Swara. As the General Secretary of As the General Secretary of Sarayu, I'd also accomplished 95% of my manifesto. And then I'd also authored a book called Carnival. I'd also authored a book called Carnival, which is out. And I had editorial for Sangam under Cultural Outreach Committee. I'd also been the Deputy World Fest Coordinator for Team Professional Shows. I'd also been the literary representative for Sarayu Hostel, and we'd bagged third place last year in Litsock. And I'm representing Sharavati as the literary representative this year. Thank you so much.
Guys, we have already started his time. He would be losing his time on the presentation if you keep shouting.
Mic testing. How's the Josh, guys? Hello everyone, I'm CS Dheeraj, contesting for the post of Cultural Affairs Secretary Literary. I'm a third year undergrad in the Department of Chemical Engineering from Godavari Hostel. I firmly believe that these four are the pillars of Institute Cultural Sphere: Sangam, Sarang, Litsock and Contingent. My vision for each of those are listed there. Sangam, transition back offline and make clubs resilient. Sarang, restore lost glory and expand to untapped avenues. Contingent, nurture talent and broaden horizons. Litsock, revive the essence of hostel cultures. Moving on, let's get deeper into each of these. Sangam. Through my initiative Cultural Reimmersion, I would like to tap onto the people who felt left out from the cultural sphere because of the online semester in the last couple of years. How do I want to do that? We'll have a weekend of informal activities and follow it up with a week of workshops so that as a whole, whoever wanted a second chance at the cultural sphere can get it. Through my initiative Board Games Adda, I would like to give a dedicated space for all the board games enthusiasts to meet up and bond over board games. Coming to Sangam Showcase, this is for all the students who are talented but not part of the contingent. We as an institute should be able to recognize their talent, which is what this initiative tries to do, through all the media platforms like Instagram, YouTube, Sangam newsletter and website. Sangam Tab. There is a huge issue with respect to awareness of Sangam and Litsock events, and we are trying to tackle the exact same issue here. We will be integrating the Sangam and Litsock tabs into the Students app so that we can push event notifications, contingent branding, MVP profiles and Litsock standings. Moving on to Litsock. So for the next year, we are going to have a huge issue. Primarily because the secretaries who are going to be elected for all the hostels, they have no on-ground experience with respect to Litsock. So we face this challenge that they might lose out on enthusiasm. So to make sure that doesn't happen, I've come up with the following two initiatives: Litsock Renaissance and branding and recognition. A committee will be set up to revitalize the on-ground Litsock experience for hostel secretaries and be inducted to their respective hostels by the alums. With respect to branding, I would like to use the LED screens present in every hostel and put up Litsock standings and MVP profiles there so that as a whole, we are aware of what's happening with respect to Litsock, and this is also going to help us brand Litsock better. Moving on to Litsock gamification. Right now, the system doesn't really incentivize people to participate, which is why we're giving credits to make sure that we're incentivizing participation, which will in turn help to polish the participant. Moving on to Sarang. A gaming zone, arcade zone, and amusement park rides will be put up in the KV area to bolster the Sarang festive vibes. Sarang Prom. Sarang is all about experiences. And to add on to that experience, I'll be starting the first ever Sarang Prom, constituting of an evening of food, fun and frolic, which will be introduced to enrich the Sarang experience. Sarang Influencer Program. It is an initiative to increase the Sarang's publicity by capitalizing onto the growing trend of influencer-based marketing. Moving on to the contingent. We will be putting up a bid to host Inter-IT Cultural Meet in IIT Madras to make sure that we are augmenting the cultural spirit in the campus and also give the contingent a specific goal to work towards. Cultural Alumni Reconnect. We will be putting up an initiative called Alumni Reconnect, wherein we'll be getting down the culturally inclined alumni to the institute so that they can help the contingent members of today with their guidance and provide special tips so that they can win Inter-IT. Coming to Inter-IT Cultural Book. This is a book with data of all the previous Inter-IT cultural meets and contingent members so that they can streamline their prep and also help us in knowledge transfer. These are my credentials, guys. I'm the current non-competitive events head, which encompasses of I am the current non-competitive events head, which encompasses of informals, Meraki and Spotlight. We piloted the first ever intra-city meets and helped out the batches of 20 batch to make sure that they're meeting the people in their cities. We had a Spotlight lecture series comprising of 10 speakers, ranging from an Olympic golfer to a singer. I was also a Nova Litfest coordinator in my second year. I was the literary secretary of Kaveri Hostel in my first year. I am the current Litsoc representative of Godavari Hostel, which is placed at second in the Litsoc table. Thank you so much, guys.
Now we'll move on to the cross-questioning round. I would like to invite both the candidates to the stage. Since Dheeraj went second, he can ask the question first. Please keep your question short and to the point, and I would urge you both to follow the model code of conduct. Any violations will not be entertained and may lead to reduction in the number of questions that you may ask. Okay.
Hi, Santoshi.
Hey, Dheeraj.
Guys, we'll be reducing the number of questions they can ask to 2. Please maintain silence. If you continue to do so, we'll be reducing the numbers. That's not the way to behave. Please maintain the decorum.
I can start off. Yeah, so starting off, your manifesto has 20 points and your feasibility report has 19 points. 2 points in your manifesto are not even there in the feasibility report, and 1 point in the feasibility report is not in the manifesto. I was going through it and I just wanted to know about the PG cult that you wrote. Who will the PG cultural body comprise of? Who is putting up the budget for the events and conducting them? And what is the timeline of this?
Okay, so start with, unlike others who didn't get the feasibility before. So unlike others who didn't get the feasibility before the feasibility deadline, I submitted it properly. And to stress on the fact that I got my feasibility before the deadline, I couldn't submit the right report on time. And my feasibility report, I named 2 docs the same and I uploaded the previous one. I had asked SEC for permission to re-upload, but because the deadline had passed, I abided by the rules and I didn't re-upload. To start with, the PG cult will comprise of a PG head, followed by one PG representative for each club. And then to answer the timeline, we'll be having a freshie night for the PGs, and then we'll also be having a weekender, and also we'll be having, what was the third question?
Just repeat
The timeline, budget, and who's conducting them.
The budget will be a replica of what the UG freshie night and UG weekender is.
Timeline.
Is that your follow?
I just said, right, timeline we'll be having a PG freshie night. We'll be having a PG freshie night when PGs enter, that is August. And we'll also be having a weekender when again PGs enter, which will be January.
Ask a follow.
So you will be having 2 weekenders, 2 freshie nights. One weekender costs about 1.25 L.
Okay.
One freshie night costs about 1,08,000.
Okay.
And as a whole, who will be taking up this budget? Okay. And PG freshie night has already happened in 2018, which was
Okay.
conducted by the RAS.
Okay.
PG Lickstock was tried before, but it was a flop.
Okay.
We almost try PG cultural events every year, but you are just basically clubbing all these together, which failed in the past.
Okay.
How exactly is it different from what it was before?
Okay. To start with about the budget, I'd spoken to the dost, and we have student funding which has not been used in the past. If you read the constitution, right, there is student welfare budget.
Please keep quiet.
So, can I?
Wait. Ask a second follow-up.
I am not going to comment on the budget being left out because. Okay.
She'll be answering the first follow-up first.
Okay. To start with, the budget does not fall under the Gymkhana budget. There is a separate funding avenue called student welfare funds which come to those and which has not been used by the previous secretaries. I will be using that. Second, there's been a reason why PG cult has failed in the past, which is because we always use the UG calendar to plan events. I will be using the PG calendar to plan events.
What's up?
Litsoc will be interdepartmental. I had also checked with IIT Bombay, IIT Kanpur and IIT Roorkee for this.
Did you check with the RAS though?
Yeah, I got feasibility from the RAS, of course.
I spoke to.
That's all. The follow-ups are done. Santoshi, you can ask a question.
Okay, to start with, SAC bowl capacity is to accommodate 600 people. In your feasibility report, you mentioned chairs, cutlery and dinner for all. How do you plan to fit 200 chairs and 100 tables into SAC and also give dancing space for people?
Right. So to start off, I spoke to the FR course, and we made a plan wherein if you actually make sure that the places are slightly closer to each other, then we can fit in 100 chairs. But the idea is, I made 3 models in my feasibility report, primarily because we don't know the on-ground reality. So these are estimates. I made 3 specific models in my feasibility report. One is 50 couples, 75 couples, and 100 couples.
Your follow-up.
One second. Okay. As of yesterday, the music club contingent weren't asked for a feasibility check to perform in Sarang prom for 3 hours. They need to practice as a contingent for Sarang events as well. Why are you firing them out?
So, to start off, I spoke to Suraj Thomas, who was... Where is he? I have... No, yeah, obviously. I spoke to Suraj Thomas because he was part...
First, no.
He was part
You
of the
will be
music
given your
contingent.
time. Don't interrupt. Dheeraj, answer. No, they can't. No, they can't. They'll be given time.
I
they
spoke
can
to
clarify
Suraj Thomas, who's the current contingent head and even the current music club contingent member as well. He was part of the music contingent and he gave me feasibility before the deadline.
Mihir, I'd like Suraj Thomas and the rest of the contingent members to confirm at the end of our cross-questioning.
Yeah, during audience time they can
yeah,
do that. That is
cool.
fine.
Also, the second follow-up. So, since classical night starts at 6 p.m. and given that we can't push classical night beyond 6 p.m., your prom starts at 4. Yeah, 4. And are you planning to have a tea party or what? Because how are you planning to end it? Because classical night is supposed to end by 10 p.m. It can't be pushed beyond 6 p.m. And your event is ending at 7 p.m. and our event will be having dean, host and director and everyone at the event. Are you planning to hold a simultaneous event? And yeah.
No. So I mentioned that it's a 3-hour long event to have a buffer. The event is 2 hours long and it'll be ending before 6 p.m. and classical night will have no disturbance at all.
Okay, Dheeraj, ask your question. Go ahead, ask your question now.
Yeah. So in your point, Mardi Gras memories, you mentioned in the feasibility report that the budget will be split across IAR and us. You have not obtained a feasibility from IAR secretary nor Shweta ma'am. So I don't know, how did you plan on dividing the budget? And let me know how exactly the split is.
Okay, to start with, it's not Mardi Gras memories, it's Mardi Gras memoirs. Second, I had informed Sarthak about the event. I also spoke to Sujata ma'am about this.
Yeah, it's fine.
No, I wasn't allowed to clarify. Why is he allowed?
Just a minute. He's an executive council member, right?
Okay.
He's an executive. Yeah. During their time also they can clarify. That is okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and the budget split will be between culturals and INAR, and culturals will be taking the majority of it. I've spoken to Spikmake. Spikmake will be sponsoring the classical night for that day.
Ratio of division.
We'll be taking up the major cost of it. Only the alumni associated funds will be taking up it.
So major part is, you've mentioned 30L, right?
Yeah.
Major part is what, 60-40, 70-30 what?
It's gonna be 25 at the max, and we'll not be depending on INAR for anything. We'll be getting sponsorship. INAR is just for the alum part of it.
Okay.
Second follow-up is over.
This is not even the first follow-up. No.
Yeah, the follow-ups are done. The follow-ups are done. Two follow-ups, right? Follow-ups are done, dude. Already asked your follow-ups.
No, this is the first.
You have already asked your follow-ups. This was the second follow-up. You asked the two-part question, right? The second part was the follow-up, no? Go ahead, ask your question. Dude, my team is noting down the question. You already asked the follow-up. Can't actually track down in this much of noise.
Okay.
I asked only first.
Questions, right? I cannot track down all the follow-up during this much of noise. Fine, please don't debate. There's no point in debate.
So this is about Litsock recognition and branding. You put up in your feasibility report that LED screens will be put up in each hostel which displays Litsock's point table. Doesn't this give an ego boost to hostels doing well already and not achieving anything that it wants to? Why would a hostel in the bottom of the standings even want to spend on the screen?
Okay. So first thing is I am not putting it up. CCW office is putting it up. Okay. Second thing is, do you want to hide the Litsock standings for the hostels who are not really at the top?
No, I'm not.
Go ahead with the follow-up.
Hostels at the top of Litsock standing are called as Litsock leaders at the moment. How would rebranding it as the orange cap improve participation? If Litsock leaders are orange cap holders, do you want the entire hostel to wear an orange cap?
Absolutely not. It's just a symbol of whatever they have done, which will be shared with the hostel secretaries.
My second follow-up. There is already a push notification option available in the students app, which can remind students for events in Litsock. There was hardly any improvement in participation even after push notifications were used in offline scenario. Why would you want your team to work on something that has a track record for not improving participation?
Do you know how we used to push event notifications before?
Answer the
Fine,
question.
fine, fine.
Answer the
So the
question.
system used before was through the Insta web apps. We are integrating it with the students app and we'll be having the backend access. So we can put up frequent notifications, which is what will improve the awareness.
Mihir, one second.
Yeah. No, just follow-up is done. Follow-up is done, no. The follow-up is done, yeah. Dheeraj, ask your question.
So this is regarding your Sarang NFT point. Firstly, you are expecting people to purchase them without having a single idea about the pro show artists in the future years to come. How can you dictate a 3-year forward deal for the future Culsex and your core team?
Okay, to start with, it's not just for students, it's for everyone who attends Sarang. Second, I'm not dictating. Do you realize that there has also been sponsorship contracts and deals that are signed for 3 years? Does that mean our teams are dictating the upcoming teams?
Is there? So primarily, say for some apparent reason, primarily like a COVID pandemic, Sarang gets stalled for a year. We move online. How will you go about the refund policy?
Can you repeat your question?
You can't sell pro show tickets in an online sim, right?
The NFT doesn't say that ticket is for 24, 25, 26. It is 3 years of pro show tickets. It can be any of the years.
So what you're saying is primarily Sarang will be, it's an independent and non-profit organization.
Yeah.
But is it liable to consumer courts? Have you taken any kind of legal advice regarding the terms and conditions that you have to go about the scheme?
Can you repeat your question?
Sarang being an independent and non-profitable organization, is
Okay.
it going to be liable to consumer courts? Because this is a very volatile market, and if someone sues us, have you taken any legal advice?
Do you
regarding terms and
understand that
conditions?
blockchains don't come under the government and they're decentralized?
Fine, the follow-ups are done. Yeah, Santoshi, you can ask your question.
Okay. To start with, how are you planning to conduct paintball given that unlike laser tag which happened in Sarang, paintball requires you to get hit by pellets at a high speed which can hurt you and potentially even kill you?
We'll have cost. Bro, can we use the PPT? I have a feasibility check it. Or I'll just show it here. So essentially we'll be having costumes which make sure that you don't get hurt. All the safety precautions will be taken care of.
Okay. Those did not approve of a rock climbing wall of more than 8 to 10 feet when I went and asked him due to safety issues. Why did you put up something in your manifesto which does not have a feasibility check?
I spoke to those, he said okay to me. He did not mention about any constraints. And we've done it in the past.
Both Arcade Zone and Gaming Zone have a recurring Meraki and Supercode app point. That's a Supercode app point. What value addition are you bringing to Sarang by putting in your manifesto which cannot be taken up by an NC Supercode?
To start off with, this is an additional source of revenue to Sarang as a whole. Okay? Which is why it warrants a point on the manifesto. Second thing, doesn't your esports point do the same thing?
Okay, the cross questioning round is done. We'll move on to executive council questioning. Guys, go ahead. You can ask questions. Yeah, you can make clarifications as well. That's fine. Yeah, make it. That is fine. Okay. अरे तो mic है ना वो?
A clarification.
They want to make a clarification.
Yeah,
Like
a clarification to the student welfare fund. The fund is majorly for the economically weaker sections, and blatantly saying that none of the secretary use is a wrong point because it is being used by the SGS to give laptops and other essential things for the weaker sections. And student welfare fund is specifically for the economically weaker sections of the students. Yeah, we can't use it.
Just to clarify, those said that there has been student activity fund also which comes up. He said that apart from the Gymkhana fund that we use, we can always have access to it.
That is student activity fund, which is stacked account, which essentially we use it for all the activities.
Okay.
we're anyways reducing the time given to audience for questioning. It's on you guys. For everyone, for both the sides, we're reducing the questioning time. That's all.
Yeah, so regarding the feasibility with respect to IIT Ma and the Mardi Gras, basically, a memo that you want to do. Yeah, I'm clarifying. Yeah, so clarification is that, yes, you spoke to me and IIT Ma as well. But with respect to the funds that is being used, there was no conversation that happened over there, for sure. And secondly, the demarcation is not clear with respect to how much funds will be required, and the budget split is not given. And second clarification that I wanted to do is that the points with respect to the alumni chapter meets wasn't completely clear, and I'll talk about that later.
This is a clarification about the back-end access to the student app. The cultural secretaries and the QMS managers all have back-end access to push notifications on the student app already. It is not routed through WebOps or anything. There is already a portal that exists. Just a clarification. Next, there was a clarification from the music club. Is Suraj Thomas here? Is the club captain or any other member of the music contingent here.
So, Dheeraj didn't get any feasibility report from me. Yeah. Yeah, he didn't get the check from me.
I'm the current music club captain. He didn't get feasibility from me, my co-captain, and the ex-captain.
I specifically mentioned I got it from Suraj Thomas.
It is infeasible.
Both of you have given clarification, that is okay. Please take the mic back.
It is infeasible.
We'll move on to Executive Council questioning.
So the PG cult part.
Mihir, can we do something? Can we take a few, like 15 minutes or 20 minutes for the executive council, go to the core committee and come back?
Yeah, that is fine. That is fine. Like the course would be included in the Executive Council questioning only. We'll be giving a separate time to the audience questioning.
Sure, thank you.
So the PG cult, shouldn't you be focusing on including them to the main force? You create that difference. That so you are separating the PGs and the UGs. Wouldn't it rather be better to include the PGs into the main fold?
So we've tried that in the past and it has not worked out. And that is why I approached IIT Bombay, Kharagpur, Kanpur to make sure that we come up with a system which works.
No. Given that including them in a...
Guys, let them complete the question. Remove this person out of the hall. I want this person out of the hall. I have already given you a warning. I want that person out of the hall immediately. May please go ahead.
So given that an existing system itself isn't good enough to pull the people in, would we have the enough resources to establish a separate system for them and pull them in?
So to answer that, the current events that we plan are very based on the UG calendar. We don't consider the PG academic calendar. That's why our events don't work.
So a solution to that would be to plan your mainstream events around both of the calendars.
Which don't match.
No.
So, like, you kept writing PEs as one freshie night, no? But
Yeah.
there are multiple segments like MS, MBA, PhD, etc.
Yeah.
So, do you want, like, the admissions keep happening throughout the year?
Yes.
So, do you want to conduct multiple freshie nights for each
No.
set of PGs or?
So the influx of PG starts with August, and then we have an MBA and MTech admission at January as well. They'll be clubbed together and held in the even semester.
Okay. So,
And-
you
Okay, Dheeraj, this question is for you. So you have mentioned about the Sangam tab, which is you will be pushing out students app. Or like, can you just estimate how many notifications will be sent? Yeah. Hello. Yeah, so like I just want you to estimate the number of notifications that will be sending out throughout the year. And second part of question is, are these notifications, like, won't it be irritating for people to see these many notifications on a daily basis?
Sure. So majorly with respect to Sangam, we'll be focusing on the major events. Like let's say Club Weekend or Freshie Night. We'll be sending out notifications for those specific events. With respect to Litsoc, we'll be clubbing them and sending a club, like let's say for 2 weeks at once. So that it's timed well and it's not irritating for people.
So this question is for you. There are about 6 points in your manifesto that require the web ops team or some sort of digital documentation and data management to happen. Given that the Sarang portal itself was non-functional for a good part of time, how do you expect your web ops team to work on these 6 points and deliver them?
In addition to this, I would also like you to answer, both of you, I would like you to answer your plan for selection in terms of talent, specifically focusing on media, design, and DevOps. First, you can answer DevOps. Santoshi can answer Sid's question and then move on to this.
No, first Santoshi and then both together.
Okay, to start with, the data management will be done by both QMS and DevOps will be taking care of all the technical part. QMS will be taking care of management part. And in specific, all the management of data that we're doing is in coalition with admin. We will have to send out, like for example, my non-academic transcripts require all the cultural accomplishments, PORs and achievements of our teams and contingents. That will be maintained by the QMS team and we'll be sending them out to admin, and it's maintenance of a mere Google Sheet, so that's possible. And secondly, answering the question about DevOps, next year I'll be focusing on hiring right, which would be to start hiring right after election, in hopefully given a good case. And also looking for talent, we'll have to not just hire them first, we'll also have to give them enough training, so that because of an online setting, we've never had the chance to meet our teams and contingents to see them face to face and have a good communication set where we train them properly. So
just a follow-up to your answer, right? So if it were managing Google Sheets, why is it not done till now? It's not. You need to have a database that is set, map students to roll numbers. You want to generate a non-academic transcript.
Yes.
There is hours and hours of goes into generating your own transcript.
Yes.
Exactly impossible. So if you want to do a non-academic transcript, that will require quite a bit of people coming together, and that will need a very robust back-end system that has to be built. And on top of that, you need to collaborate with everyone. So it is not as simple as you think. So you need to account for more man-hours and more resources.
Okay, I talked to the admin about this. I specifically went to the DOST office to find out how the transcript looks, how the Excel sheet looks, and it is manageable by our team.
Dheeraj can answer.
Media, design, and DevOps, right? So for the media and design, there is a plan of conducting a weekender, media and design weekender, which I'm in charge of. I'll complete that as soon as the elections are done. And through that, what we'll try to do is uplift the overall enthusiasm for media and design. For DevOps specifically, I think we need to conduct a similar challenge of sorts before hiring, like a competition of sorts, wherein people can just participate and we can give them prizes, and then also take that as a stepping stone before taking them into the teams as such. It will be part of the hiring process.
How do you ensure that these many people actually apply for the competition 1 and 2 for the coordinator position or the super coordinator position or the core position?
This is for core. Core position, primarily we'll be looking at the incentives based on the budget we have. Then we'll be publicizing it well to all the right set of people who are interested in this.
So if I understand this correctly, you are planning to host a competition, a coding competition to select a Sarang core.
It will be part of the hiring process.
Okay, the question is how you will ensure that the winners of this competition will not just be there for the incentives, but for the core position.
I think Sarang core is a very lucrative position in itself in an offline semester. I don't think that will be an issue as such. In 2020, we had a proper set of MobOps and DevOps. For the last couple of years, we had slight issues. I think one part of it is because of the online semester, because we did not have enough interactions as such. I think in the offline semester, we'll have good enough value for the PR for which people will want to apply.
Yeah, so Santoshi, I have a question for you. So this point where you're collaborating with the IITMA regional alumni chapter meets and alumni reunions. First of all, how many alumni chapter meets happen in a year?
So Nishani ma'am had told that around 3 at the minimum happen at all the 6 locations.
No, that's wrong. So there are 3 in total which happen at any of the 3 locations out of the 6. So that's only 3. And how many of them are you planning on going to, and where is the budget coming from? Because IIT Ma, as far as I know, doesn't have any budget.
So Nishani ma'am had told that there is a scope of financial providement, and I actually went to her office just day before yesterday again to reconfirm my feasibility.
No, sorry. Go. Repeat again.
So to again put light to the same question, I had gone to the IIT Ma office again to recheck the feasibility. They said that there's a scope of financial funding for the contingents to go to these chapter meets. And I'd also verified, and I have the chat in my, like I sent the slides to her and I have it.
I went to Nishani ma'am yesterday. She said it is infeasible.
I have the chat right now.
She sent it to you after that itself.
I have the chat with me from today morning. Do you want it?
So your feasibility happened after submitting feasibility report, right?
That is fine. That is enough.
I have.
That is enough. Move on to the next
One clarification, a scope does not guarantee funds. And second of all, as of now, there are no funds with IIT Ma, but in the future, they may have funds. So that's all.
Yeah. Questions to Dheeraj. You just said, commented on Santoshi getting feasibility after the deadline. Did you or did you not get feasibility from the spons code 2 days ago for one of the points? Yes or no? That is it.
It was not feasibility.
Yes or no? That doesn't answer my question. Yes or no?
That is okay. He'll answer your question.
That's it. That's my point.
Yes, Santoshi, this question is for you.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about Institute Cultural Award.
Yes.
So when are you planning to give this award?
It's during the convocation.
It's during convocation.
Yes.
Okay. Is it on Institute Day or it's on Gymkhana Day or
Institute
like
Day.
during
Institute Day.
Institute Day.
Yeah.
So did you propose this award to, like, there is a proper procedure to mention like to start an institute award?
Yes.
So did you talk with all the deans and all the committee members? Basically, you should form a committee for
So
this.
I spoke to the cultural advisor and the dost about it.
Okay.
They said that post elections there'll be a committee that will be formed.
Okay. Next. Yes, so there are now there are multiple parts of the question. First part is like there are team events and there are individual events. So how are you going to distinguish basically people or students who are performing better in team events and better in individual events? Second part is there are multiple types of events that happen throughout the year. Like one example is there might be a guy who is really good in comedy and other guy is really good in writing. So how will you compare that thing? Third point is, okay, I think you can answer these 2 points and then we can move on to the next part of the questions.
So to answer the first part of the question, which is sort of to understand what will be the matrix for team events and individual events, the whole matrix will be normalized in such a way that the team events have a normalized scale for the participants and the number of participants also will be taken into account. Second, for the question about through having events throughout the year, there'll be specific points for Let's Talk, there'll be specific points for all the cultural events, and also for contingents who go out for other festivals will have a pre-applied verification from the cultural secretary for getting those points.
Okay,
Yeah.
one more follow-up. So right now, the Institute Blues that we have, that has a section for culturals. So why are you starting this award in the first place?
Okay, to answer that question, Institute Blues require you to be an all-rounder at academics, sports, culturals, 3 or 4 things. And people who are really good at culturals really deserve the recognition that they should have. And I want to push for that as a cultural affairs secretary.
Okay. 1 second. Yes. So should all other secretaries start their individual awards?
It depends on the particular sphere. It depends on the particular sphere. In my sphere, I want to recognize the talent that there is. Yep.
This question is to Dheeraj. So, for your board games adda, you have mentioned in your feasibility report that you will be furnishing the ground floor space in SAC.
Yeah.
Who did you take feasibility for this from? So, if I understand correctly, we have been trying to put furniture and like cupboards and other stuff in SAC ground floor over the last few weeks.
Okay.
We have not received feasibility. One of the reasons is that the entire ground floor is opened. Like there are gates there. Like the entire, both left and right side of the main entrance that you have, there are gates there. People enter SAC through those places while any event is happening.
Okay.
That is why, like, no furnishing is possible over that space. Are you planning on, like, what is your plan exactly?
Sure.
Can you explain it?
So primarily we'll be piloting it with basic furniture like just tables and chairs. I spoke to those specifically about tables and chairs and one cupboard, and he said yes. I was with Sari and SV at that time. You can verify it with them as well. So, but coming to second point. But I just clarify everything. So yeah, the second point, we want to pilot it with a small space, see how the traction is, then look at what the actionable steps are from there on.
No, were you there with me and Prakash when we went to Dost office to ask for feasibility? What did the Dean say then? What did the Dean and Swami sir say then about putting any furniture in SAC ground floor?
No, you were asking for an inventory space of a huge cupboard, which they said you can put.
We also talked about small cupboards. We also talked about small cupboards.
There is already a cupboard in SAC.
No, there is no cupboard.
There is one cupboard with the security guard, right?
Where?
In
that
SAC.
That is SAC cupboard. That is not cultural's cupboard.
Yeah. Obviously. I'm just saying we'll be having a smaller cupboard like that.
And what about safety?
No, yeah, that's what.
Security?
So, yeah, sure. I'll tell you. So initially we'll be installing a CCTV camera, piloting this.
There are already CCTV cameras.
Yeah,
in SAC.
but they are not facing this. They are not facing this. I checked it. I went to SAC. I checked it. It was not facing this place that I'm promoting. So primarily we'll be having a CCTV camera focusing on this specific place. We'll be piloting it for 4 hours in the weekends for about 2 to 3 weeks. We'll look at what the traction is. We'll look at if there is an issue with the missing pieces. And then as a whole, we'll take a decision on how exactly we want to go about with the board games. We'll be starting out with the board games, which have absolutely no missing pieces issue.
So yeah, you have two alumni related points. I think they both could have been the same point, but okay. Let's talk Renaissance. You plan on including hostel alumni to sustain hostel culture. You say that they'll be inducted, like the whole committee will be inducted by the respective hostel alumni. There have been, INR has existed for 8 years. We have tried to include alumni in all the events that happen for a daily basis. And alumni have not responded positively. What incentive are you going to give them so that they are part of this?
So first of all, this is part of the recall initiative that is being taken up by the aspiring IR secretary.
Okay.
Because the last couple of years were online, a lot of people from the previous 2 batches want to come back to the institute for one last time to have a huge ceremony. This will be as a part of that. Then specifically we'll be calling the people who are relevant to the hostels, hostels culture, to make sure that their hostel culture is, sustaining. We'll be specifically calling people. I've already spoken to secretaries, the past secretaries of about 4 to 5 hostels, and they've all said okay to this.
Okay, so one follow-up to this. So you're saying during recall they'll come back, right? So again, I don't think you answered my question. What incentive are you giving them so that they talk to the people from the hostels right now? Because recall is going to be a fun event.
Sure. So LitSoc as such is something that is propelled by fields.
Correct.
So anyone we are calling specifically for this event would definitely love to come and talk with their respective hostel people so that they are imparting fields. I can give you the names of people who have spoken to and they have agreed to this.
Hi, I'm Sriram. So
Excuse
this
me,
point is to...
You are a candidate for another post, you cannot ask question.
I'm the event score.
You may be event score, but you cannot ask question. If it's for both of them,
It's both of them.
And it's a non-partisan question, you go ahead, but if it's only for the
It's
one
both of
candidate,
them.
you cannot ask.
It's both of them. Yes. So this is regarding NCA. One of you has put up a point on NCA and the other one hasn't. Let me complete.
Take the mic back from him.
Let me complete.
If it's for both of the candidates, that's fine. Just complete your question, I'll decide on that.
Okay, for both of you, first answer. What do you think is the main problem with NCA right now?
Participation and participation. First.
Dheeraj?
Yeah, so it just started out recently, so it is not as established as NSO. So primarily we'll have to make it a better system so that people are more interested in it.
You mentioned participation.
Yeah.
Do you know NCA conducts elections and we have to select top few number of people? So how are you saying participation is an issue? Sorry.
I've also checked with this. We have lesser applicants for selection itself.
Which NCAs? Do you have the names of the clubs?
I mean, when I took fun days, it was just generally mentioned.
For choreo, we have around 100 people participating for the selections and only 40 are selected. Where is the participation issue here?
Guys, this is a question to both of you. So,
Can you answer that?
Yeah, he made a right question.
Where is the participation issue?
Do you still stick with the answer
That
that
is
participation
okay.
is the issue?
If you have any question, give it to your culture. They'll ask it on your behalf. Don't ask a question here. That is all.
I'm the core. No, I can answer the question, right?
Even if he's a core, give it to culture. Yours is fine.
I'd still stick with my answer.
Guys, a question to both of you. So, I see both of you have put points to organize the next year inter-IT culture meet. So, great job on that to taking up the initiative. But I have a few questions for that. So, please walk me through the procedure as to what is the basic necessity to fix as to, that IITM will host the next inter-IT cultures, your timeline, contingency plans, and your involvement as a culture affairs secretary. The feasibility report only talks about the budget.
So primarily, we'll go ahead with the convener selections, the club captain appointments, and then we'll form a inter-IIT committee, which will consist of events course, contingent head, club conveners, FR course, hospi course, and security course. As such, this will be the planning committee. This planning committee will plan out on whatever the intricacies are with respect to hosting inter-IIT in IIT Madras. Okay.
Please specifically mention your role as a culture affairs secretary as to what you will take up.
Sure. So primarily we want to host it in IIT Madras, right? So the requirements are we need to first convene a meeting with all the other secretaries and then put forward a brochure of all the events that we want to do, have discussions with them, show them what our hospitality looks like, and as a whole make sure that everyone agrees to whatever we say, primarily showing that we have a good enough place to host all the IITs. And once everyone agrees on the events and or whatever requirements with respect to hosting inter-IIT, we'll have the official bid to host inter-IIT as such. This is the involvement of cultural affairs secretaries.
So currently the inter-IIT committee consists of all the 23 IITs, and then it's usually headed by all the deans as well. Deans and cultural secretaries are a part of the committee. Now to answer your question in specific, I also, to start with, we'll have to show that we have the infrastructure to host an inter-IIT cultural meet. And to follow up on that, if 2 or 3 more IITs want to host it, we'll have to bid for it. And I spoke to other IITs right now, the current secretaries and some aspiring secretaries. Only IIT Roorkee is interested in hosting the next cult meet. So I spoke it out, and they've already agreed to let us host it. Yeah.
Cool. So it's still not yet been fixed that IIT Madras is going to host the next. So I'll tell you, if you have to take parallels from the inter-IT tech meet constitution or even the inter-IT sports constitution, you first have to get an approval from those and director, and then only you can propose it to the whatever cult board meeting is there. Cool. Now it has been, let's assume that it has been fixed that IIT Madras is going to host next year inter-IT cultures. Now what will be your involvement as a culture affairs secretary? I think he kind of answered it to some extent. You can proceed with.
Okay, to sort of start with what my involvement will be is to sort of set up the inter-IT organizing team itself, which will involve FR, events, hospitality, and media teams as well. Then on forward to it, we'll have to put up a list of events and also show that, okay, these are the events that we want to host.
So will you be part of it or not?
I'll be heading the inter-IT organizing team.
Okay,
Yeah.
Interesting. So, as an whosoever is the inter-IT organizing head shouldn't be any secretary of any institute because there is a conflict of interest, because indirectly you will be part of the contingent or you will be heading the contingent wells. To quote an example, this year Tech Meet, IIT Kharagpur had a similar problem, and there are discussions in place wherein IIT Kharagpur will have 10 years of organization ban and 1 or 2 years of participation ban. So just quoting or just letting you know that if you are a culture affairs secretary, you can't be part of the organizing team.
Yep, okay, that's fair. Yeah, thank you.
So this is for both of you. Can you just please explain the budget involved in this inter-IT cultural meet happening in the institute?
So primarily we have the following segments. One is the FR. The second is hospitality, which will include accommodation and food. The third is the events judge budget. Fourth is the security budget. And then if we have some kind of an ambience or a show or media to cover the entire event, we might have some specific budget for that as well. Apart from that, there will be intricate budgets like helping out the contingent with professional mentorship and stuff. But that will come under our inter-IT budget, but it won't be the budget that we are accounting for at the end.
Okay, to start with, we'll have FR, accommodation, judge fees, and then goodies for winners, and then buffer of 2 lakhs.
What goodies for what winners?
We'll have it for our contingent members.
Then it should not be part of the inter-IT budget.
It is for judges. It is for judges. It is for judges. Goodies for judges.
Okay, so FR budget you have put 15L. No? Can you just explain what are the 15L?
So we'll be having barricades for 2.5 lakhs, bus transport 50K, cleaning staff 35K, cab transport 4 lakhs, material desk 65K, production 4L, projectors and printers 25K, other requirements 2.75K.
Yeah, I have a question for Santoshi. I just wanted to know if you took event score fund days.
Yep. Yeah.
From whom did you take?
I took from Unni and Guru.
As of, in my information, Guru has not given fund days specifically. Is
I
what
met
with... But okay, I'll give it to you.
I met with people who would agree to meet me. Yeah.
Right, it's okay. I wanted to know about your culture. I wanted to know about your cultural passports. You've put a budget of 50K.
Yep.
So every time the events course designed the budget, there has always been this issue of cutting budget from choreo.
Got it.
So let's take the scenario where you have to make a choice between giving 50K to choreo or 50K for your cultural passports, which is something which can be very easily done digitally for free.
Yeah.
What would your choice be basically?
I'll go for the digital one and give choreo team the budget. Yeah.
Then why did you put 50K in your...
It's the upper cap. I have to show the financial feasibility, right? So I've written it.
So you're telling that's something that can be easily done for free. You'd put 50K into it. 50K is like 0.5.
I'm giving out memos. I'm giving out memorable passports for students to take it on for years and years to come. So why
So
not?
you're saying, this is my last question. A piece of paper which
It's not a piece of paper, it's a booklet.
of paper. Okay, forgive me. Forgive me. A booklet of paper from your first year is going to last more than a digital copy. Is that your point?
I've never told it's only for first year, it's also for seniors, and I've also designed the passport. It's gonna last. It's gonna last. We carry forward our ID cards and everything for years and years to come. It's a memorable. I have certain signed copies of like shows that I've attended. So it's something that if people do really love culturals, they will take it forward.
Untitled culturals budget fees.
No, we didn't take feasibility from here.
We'll only be taking executive council questioning for another 15 minutes. Please ask any questions if you have.
Yeah, can I ask? Mike.
No.
Yeah, my question is for Santoshi. Just give me a minute. Yeah, so recognizing is a very big part of your vision, I guess. So in monthly magnum opus, this is something similar to Orange Tag that the sports contingent have. How many hours does a sports contingent member put per day? 3 hours for 6 days. Okay, and you want to give the same kind of recognition for a sphere which is culturals who don't put as much effort as the sports sphere. So how do you justify recognizing something as equal as something else?
First, I wouldn't agree that culturals doesn't put effort. We put in a lot of effort to train. Second, for example, you can take chess. Chess is an activity which just requires you to sit, think and play. Similarly, each cultural activity requires a particular skill set and effort that goes in. So I want to recognize my sphere and I will take it up forward. It's my duty and responsibility to recognize talent.
Okay, yeah, I have a question for Dheeraj. So you've said about the Sarang influencer program.
Yeah.
Are there any teams right now in Sarang who do this already?
Pro shows and publicity, to an extent spawns.
Okay, and do they spend any money on it?
Yes.
All the 3 teams?
Pro shows. Pro shows.
Okay, so that is absolutely incorrect. The only team that spends money on it is Spawns. So my question is, when we have a team that does it for free and gets enough visibility, why do you want to put money into it when it's already being done?
So first of all, this is going to be a program which is similar to the student ambassador program. Yeah. So PPT.
Just speak it out.
Sure. So I'll just explain the student ambassador program and you can draw parallels to the same thing here. So essentially the student ambassador program is we have a portal wherein people go and register and they're asked to do specific tasks, right? Based on which they get points. For let's say there's a post that they put up in their college or anything like that, they get specific points for that. We'll have a similar program like that for influencers, wherein we are collecting database and they will be part of the Sarang, the club, like as such, for the influencers, right? This is something that doesn't happen right now, okay? Yeah.
So do you know how many students ambassadors did we have this year?
Student ambassadors about 60,
we barely
70.
had 60 students
70,
ambassadors,
yeah.
and these people are still students, and they
Yeah.
don't do it for the same incentives that you're giving to the influencers, right?
Sure.
You're giving goodies and prize money.
Yeah.
We give the same to students ambassadors, and they still don't register. We have 1,500 colleges in India,
Right.
and we barely had 60 students ambassadors.
Okay.
So how do you think this will work?
I spoke to 3 of them and I have the mails of
Who 3 of-
confirmations. I can show you to you.
Yeah. Who are these 3 people?
Influencers.
They'll do it for goodies.
They did it for.
Don't show it now.
They have a reach between 14 and 54K.
And
followers.
In your manifesto, you have written that, and feasibility report, you have written that it will be 2K to 30K followers.
Yeah.
You will be contacting influencers
Yeah.
of such. We have been doing it for the past 2-3 years.
Okay.
And some influencers put out posts. We have negligible return of investment. They don't put up any of our posts saying that we are not giving any monetary incentives.
Okay.
Since by promoting Sarang, they're indirectly promoting all the sponsors who otherwise would have paid them to put up the post.
Okay.
So how is this new incentive, whatever you are offering,
Right.
gonna make them put out the posts if whatever you are offering is just ticket sales, which we have been doing in the past?
So it is not just that, it is already happening in IIT Delhi. This is a proof of concept from that. I spoke to people from there and that program has been working very well, which is why I want to replicate.
I have seen IIT Delhi's influencer program post.
Yeah.
Which sponsor was sponsoring that event? Just give me the name of the sponsor.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Dheeraj, there is a follow-up to this Sarang influencer program.
Sure.
So this is actually nice initiative. Just want to know about like how are you going to choose these influencers? Because
it is not choosing as such. They have to come and register, right?
Okay, so
We
any
will
random influencer can register.
Yeah, we'll
right?
be making a database targeting in the range that we probably can get conversions.
Okay, bro. So basically, suppose if there is a influencer with 50k followers, and if you didn't check his or her background before registering, and what if the influencer deteriorates the image of Sarang?
No, we'll have a declaration saying that their actions don't cause effects on Sarang as such.
Okay, so we'll take legal declarations from their side.
Not legal declarations, it will be MOUs.
Okay, so what if the influencer put up a post that deteriorates Sarang's image?
They won't be part of the program from then on. We'll remove
So
it.
what will happen to that post? That post will be still up, right?
No, we'll talk to them. We'll say that this is causing bad PR for us.
So what if the influencer is not willing to take down that post?
We can report it, right?
So we can, but like how many reports will you do within a day, and like how it will take a time to get it down?
Right. The idea is they put up a bad post. It is causing bad PR for us.
Yeah.
The steps that we can take up is talk to them about what's happening to the entire thing, and they can solve it. If it doesn't get solved, then we can see on other actions like reporting it to Instagram or try to get it down.
Okay. Yeah, just one follow-up. So like at least it will take 7 to 8 hours to report the post or get it down. So for that 7 to 8 hours, there is a bad image that is spreading throughout, and like it's basically hampering Sarang. So like, do you have any plan to work on this thing?
Like they don't represent us, right? As such. Then how is it even?
So this question is to Santoshi. So in your manifesto, the cultural footprint, Cultopedia, Makerspace, expand NCL Tap, Sangam Streets, Freshie Passports, Esports, PG Cult, projects, Cult Olympics. You have put a lot of points that require specific effort from the side of Sangam and the conveners. These are all things that are in addition to what they're doing right now. And you also want them to host the inter-IIT cultural meet, right? So where is the time for all of this? Don't you think that conveners have enough on their plate already, because they are going to be organizing the first on-ground Sarang after 2 years?
Okay,
And do you have a timeline in mind?
To answer the question, conveners, I believe all the super coordinators are not overworked. They can work for their 100% efficiency, and all my initiatives we push forward like that. And I've also planned a timeline and a calendar which has when what initiative will go forward, such that no team is overworked at any point of time.
Okay, we'd like to see the timeline, but probably later. Now, the other thing is, when exactly are you hosting inter-IIT? Both of you?
Between 8th and 25th of December.
Third week of December.
December 1 to December 15 in every IIT is placement season. Nothing can happen.
I said between it.
One more thing. In the coming year, there are going to be 3 reunions which happen on 3 different weekends of December. And how do you plan on doing culturals at the same time of reunions?
Inter-IIT sports meets also happened during that time.
And just to point out, last week of December and first week of January is inter-IIT Tech Meet.
Okay, so this is a lot of stuff for the students to do during December. We have established that. Now, the next thing is, you want the same team to be doing both Sarang work and Sangam work in December, is what you're saying. Like, you are overworking your conveners, is what I would say in December. Both can reply.
Sure. So, like I said previously, there's going to be a planning committee which is going to chalk out a plan, and then based on the requirements, let's say we get a bid. It'll happen at around September-ish. We get a bid, then we'll know what the specific requirements are from each club. Then we can hire a specific team for hosting inter-IIT as such, so that based on each club's requirements, we are not overworking them. The team that we are hiring can work for inter-IIT, and the convener's course will be common for both inter-IIT and Sarang.
Santoshi.
So, according to the Sarang timeline, the December month is only used for publicity and pushing out our brochures and everything. So, this conveners have the bandwidth and like they can work during the month of December, so there wouldn't be any hampering in hosting of the inter-IIT.
Hi, my question is to Dheeraj. So I see you've been Litsec of Kaveri, so I'm sure you agree with me when I'm talking about Litsec being generally difficult to pass on information to the GSP. And you've put so many initiatives about recognizing orange cap and purple cap and so many things that I don't come to mind immediately because there's a lot. If all of us have difficulty in remembering all of this, and Litsec is already difficult to get enthusiasm for, don't you think you're firstly confusing people in putting so many things and so many laurels, and second, diluting the value of each when you can have just one institutionalized thing to recognize hostels?
See, the biggest issue Litsec faces right now is that Litsecs and Socsecs lose focus in the mid-semester, primarily because they are not at the top or probably not in the top 3 or top 5. So to make sure that we're tackling that, we are giving awards probably in a very specific basis, in a monthly or weekly or whenever we put up the timeline, which will be put up in the start of the semester, so that they can sustain the enthusiasm throughout.
Okay, just a follow-up, just one follow-up. So you said that the teams that are already in the top, they work hard, and the teams at the bottom, they don't, like once you're at the bottom, you don't have enthu during the middle of the season to go on. But you also said that you want to put digital boards with Litsec boards every day. So the teams that are at the bottom are going to be reminded again and again that they're at the bottom and decrease their participation. Don't you think it's contradictory?
Okay, so I'll tell you how a lit or social secretary actually works. Primarily, so there are two ways to make a lit or social secretary work. One is peer pressure. The other one is recognition. So with respect to peer pressure, we are making students of that respective hostel aware of what is happening with respect to Litsec in their respective hostels. With respect to recognition, I've put up several initiatives. We can see that in my manifesto and feasibility report. So through this, not just that, through my gamification initiative, I've divided the entire schedule into gold, silver and bronze leagues. So as to give people shorter targets to achieve, so that they can sustain the enthusiasm throughout.
I think we have time for just one more question, and then we'll move on to audience questioning round.
So this question is for Santoshi. So in your manifesto point, Open Fest, so like you have mentioned there will be stalls putting up in the institute, right?
Yep, yeah.
So who is responsible for setting up stalls for GSP during the Open Fest?
Cultural Outreach Committee.
Cultural Outreach Committee. So like, do they have the FR experience required for setting up the stalls and maintaining?
Cultural Outreach Committee will be organizing it. FR team will be helping
Right.
them. Yeah.
So there are some areas where you cannot place stalls as such. Do you know any? So like you won't put stalls in those areas, and you have the budget to set up. Like let us say you have 50 applicants for the Open Fest.
Okay.
So will you be accommodating all the 50, or what is the criteria you will be using?
So the Open Fest will have a cap of 20. I have the budget split also in my iPad. So the prioritization will be done by the Cultural Outreach Committee, and we'll be putting up stalls as and when
What are the
required.
metrics?
Metrics for selection. So it will be 1 second. Let me pull it up.
Show it, just speak it out. Just speak it out, don't show it.
So the metrics for selection will be idea and their incentive. Mainly the idea will be the metric to select, and also the number of people involved in proposing the open stall. Yeah.
Right. So like you have mentioned, so you will be selling items in your stalls, right? Do you know that students are not allowed, or like in our institute, anyone for that matter cannot sell anything to the stalls or anything that they are setting up?
So I've only mentioned that, I mean, I'll be giving out a token system. They're not going to be paying for it.
What?
Yeah, there'll be a token system. So there won't be any money involved. It'll be a token system. There won't be any money involved.
So what? Can you explain this token system?
So it's pretty much like the cash that we use in, like, it's sort of a cultural cash, let's call it. It's gonna be a token system where you have like 50 rupees or 30 rupees given out, and it's going to be exhibits where people put out their cultural art forms and people have an incentive to like get it, and it's something that people will take it up. Like our cultural people, like our GSP especially, has so much cultural talent in them. Say someone like does a digital art, a digital art form, they'll be putting it out to exhibit, and if somebody wants to buy it, it's a token form.
So like let's say I want to buy something from the stall, how will I get the token that
Cultural Outreach Committee will be giving it.
So how will they giving that to the students?
So it'll be dependent, so the split will be dependent on an interest form. Like first, people who want to attend the open fest can come and attend, but if they want to sell it, it'll be based on an interest form.
So for selling also, you are again collecting an interest form?
Yeah, like if people want to buy it, they'll have to, it's an exhibit, right? So if somebody wants to buy it, they'll have to approach us in prior.
Okay.
That's the last question we are taking from Executive Council.
Yeah, Santoshi, this is about the point which you could not give the feasibility for, the Kshetriya Dyas. Can you give the feasibility, and how different is it from the Ethnic Day, which we have been doing for a while now?
So first, to differentiate between Ethnic Day and Kshetriya Divas, we'll be having a showcase of Sabhas and Samitis in coalition with clubs and contingents. And feasibility, I can...
Feasibility. Just tell it, no, you need not show anything, just tell it to me.
So it's a festival filled with fun, food and frolic as we unite in celebrating the incredibility of our nation with performances, food and music. And motivation behind it is to recognize Indian tradition. And where will this be happening? SAC. Who will be doing it? Cultural secretaries will be taking up the initiative along with the Sabhas and Samitis. And what is it? Each Sabha and Samiti will be given a time slot to showcase their particular heritage.
So don't you think this is just Samprava plus food? Which we done just like 2 weeks back?
Samprava's competitive events. This year I had conducted Samprava.
We have done
right?
showcase, open mic.
Open mic wasn't a showcase. Open mic was anyone coming and singing. I want particular heritage-based performances.
So do you know we have been trying to form a vernacular contingent to send outside, and so like we couldn't find any people who are interested in vernacular contingent. How come you find contingent for performing in the institute?
So I spoke to a lot of PGs who are very interested in putting out their heritage showcase, and they're ready to perform.
Okay, so this is regarding your NFT point. So you first know that to sell an NFT, you have to be a registered seller, right? So who is the registered seller here?
It'll be Sarang Finance. And
I'm sorry, in terms of any finances that are there, the ITM Student Activities Trust has to be the legal entity body there. So Sarang Finance can't be, Sarang Finance or anyone, any student for that matter, can't be held accountable for this.
Yeah. So you understand that a wallet or an account have to be created by the IITM stack to do that, right?
Yeah.
So they don't even have net banking now. How are they going to create a crypto wallet?
So to create a wallet, all that you have to do is go to the marketplace and just integrate it with your browser. Second, the Fin team will be handling the wallet, and then that will be looped in its stack to handle the transactions.
So the funda is you can't do something on behalf of Stack. The people in Stack have to do the entire process and hand it over to you.
I agree. I'm never telling that they'll be handling the cash. The liquid cash will be handled by Stack. Whatever monetary transactions are happening will be handled by Stack. The wallet will be handled by the finance team.
No, they have to only handle it. A crypto wallet is equivalent to having a bank account in crypto assets. It's an asset. They have to own it. You cannot own it.
Crypto is decentralized and it is not officially recognized properly.
It is still an asset. All assets have to be owned by Stack.
Okay, so
Okay, we'll come back.
Okay, so one of the SCCC commissioner has a question. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So my question is to both of the candidates. The Executive Council is accountable to SLC and needs to present the report to SLC. Can you guys tell me what is the timeline to present the report? And since there is no penalty mentioned in the Constitution for not presenting the report, what punishment you guys deem suitable for yourself in case if you are unable to present the same? Any of you go ahead.
About the timeline, we have SLC meetings, midterm SLC meetings, midterm review meetings. We'll have to present the report at those meetings, and the review of the manifestos will be done by the standing committee formed by the department legislators and hostel legislators. So and about the penalty? About the penalty, in my purview, I believe that whatever penalty is given should not just be decided by the cultural secretaries but also by other stakeholders. Then it will be biased towards the cultural secretaries itself.
We want you to propose a penalty for yourself. What would it be?
You want the penalty to be decided by us, is it?
I just
answer the first part of the question first and then take up this.
So yeah, midterm meetings we'll have to present it and it will be ratified at the end. The manifesto will be ratified at the end.
Secretaries also have to submit bi-monthly reports.
Yeah, they have to.
You didn't mention that then.
Fine. So
also tell me the quorum which is needed to pass a budget in SLC. Tell me the quorum which is needed to pass a budget in SLC. Quorum means how many legislators you need out of total to pass a budget in SLC. And what kind of majority do you need?
Speaker must be there.
Quorum is the number of legislators. Is speaker a legislator? So what is the quorum which you need?
Half.
That is like a first task to be accountable to SLC.
Half.
Half in the sense half of the legislators.
Half of the legislators
Which are there.
who are present.
You just need a simple majority to pass it. You do not need half of the legislators.
Present in the meeting, right?
No, they should not be. Even if there are 1/10 legislator present, through a simple majority you can pass your budget. Also, fine. Yeah, we'll move on to the audience questioning. Just a second. We'll first dictate the question from the audience who couldn't join us and are in the live. So Sushant, the head of secretariat, would be doing that.
So I'll ask my first question to Dheeraj. One of the audience is asking that how can you assure that Sarang would reach the standard of past offline Sarang considering the reduced sponsorship for online Sarang?
So majorly you want me to answer how we are going to reach the past glory, right? So first thing is, let me divide this answer into the following brackets. First the organizing team, then the sponsorship avenues, then the overall revenues, right? Organizing team will be getting on-ground experience through Sangam Litsock and hosting Inter-IIT in IIT Madras. The second thing is sponsorship avenues. We primarily, because of the online semester, we took a huge hit. But when we get back offline, I think we will be having a decent enough sponsorship revenue to pull off a Sarang. But there is a glaring issue with respect to declining sponsorship through the years. So we need to have alternate sources of revenue, which can be taken up by having welcome t-shirts by MNS in the start of the semester, customized merchandise stalls. Then majorly you can have iCollege food coupon combos during Sarang. These are the three major revenue sources that I have thought of right now, which can pull off up to 10L.
Yes, Santoshi, you can also answer this question.
To retain sponsorship or to reach what we had initially, I believe one of the first things is we've had sponsorships such as Josh this year, and reaching out to more such budding apps and companies would be the first thing. Second, one of my initiatives itself targets at increasing sponsorship, which would be through Web 3.0 companies and sponsors.
There's another question for you, Santoshi. One of the viewers is asking, I love the idea of graffiti on Chennai walls, but can you tell me the positives and negatives of this initiative?
Okay. The positive is it increases our branding and visibility multifold. I don't see a negative in the point.
And the final question, which one of the viewers is asking, that both of you, can you tell something good about the opponent's manifesto?
I only see entirety as a good point.
I like the cultural transcript that she's put up on it.
We'll move to the audience who are present here. Yeah, please.
Yeah, right? Yeah, can you hear me? Peace. Yeah, I'm Pranav. I'm the current Saras Lit Rep, Litsoc representative. First on the Litsoc points table. Winning this, let's go. So Litsoc is at the heart of any GSB member's interaction with the cultural sphere. You're standing for Culsec Lit. Why does your manifesto have no Litsoc points? Your PPT did not have anything in Litsoc in your vision. Do you think Litsoc is perfect?
If you had read my feasibility report, you would have understood that recognition itself is a part of Litsoc, and I'm proposing these initiatives.
Fine. Please raise your hand if you want to ask a question. The guys at the back.
Hello.
Fine, go ahead with your question.
This is not that question. So I would like to ask you that for Sarang prom night, where did you take feasibility for Sarang security?
Sorry, what?
Sarang security feasibility, who did you take it from?
I spoke to the aspiring course, then I spoke to the core as well. I spoke to Vijay before, the previous offline core.
Bro, did you take feasibility for any other things except from prom night? You put 1 lakh for security budget, right?
Right.
Then what? Did you take feasibility?
Yeah, I spoke to Vijay before. I spoke to the aspiring.
Did you take from me?
No follow-ups required. Yeah. Any more questions? Please raise your hand, guys.
My question is to Jason Doshi. Can you, NFT is how do I put it? It's a pretty tech-forward kind of initiative. So could you elaborate on its feasibility?
It's pretty simple. I actually created an NFT just 2 hours ago on my name. It's up called Santoshi on OpenSea. It's as simple as something that you put up on an eBay site to sell your product. You go to OpenSea, you put your art form, you price it, you list it as a collectible and then sell it. It's pretty simple. In fact, you guys can go to OpenSea.io and type Santoshi and you'll find an NFT.
Okay, any more questions?
Hello, Santoshi here. Santoshi over here.
Yeah,
so, yeah. So, like MTech, you gave the reason for PG students. I mean, separate freshies, like for PGs. Sorry for the communication trouble.
Yeah.
So, the MTech intake usually happens in the month of August. It happens only once. And for MS and PS, and most of the intake comes from August only. So why do you think that there is the calendar difference between UGs and PGs? Because as far as I know, both the calendars are the same. Like we run in parallel.
I spoke to the RAS about this. She agrees that the calendar varies by multi-folds and it is essential to have a PG cult.
Okay, that is fine. Any more questions? Yeah, give it.
Hi, I'm Aditya, an ex-Informers
ASV,
Club head.
hi. Yeah.
Hi. So, in your point of cult Olympics,
Yeah.
you've mentioned the word socializing 3 times in the feasibility report, and you mentioned a socializer in your manifesto.
Okay.
Do you think there exists a Sangam club dedicated to this? If so, why have you not included that club as part of your plan?
So this is for competitive clubs and for people to get a taste of what these competitive clubs do. Informal's club already puts out treasure in which almost all the freshies take part.
Okay, any other questions? Please raise your hands if you want to ask questions.
Hi.
The guy at the back. No, not unfazed, not unfazed. We'll take your question afterwards. Let him ask the question first. You've already been given a chance.
Excuse me.
Okay. I have a question for Dheeraj. So you were the NOVA coordinator, right? So who were the speakers who came?
Let him ask the question, okay?
Can you list all the names of the speakers who came in your year when you were the coordinator?
Ramchandra Guha, Tanvi Shukla, then I was hosting Sanjay Aparu.
Yeah, you can give it.
You didn't name all the speakers, bro.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no follow-ups, it's fine. He has answered the question.
You don't even know.
He has answered the question. You have the right to vote. He has answered the question. You can do that. He has answered the question already.
Excuse me. Here.
Hello, I just have one important question. The campaign of a candidate represents the values and vision that they stand for.
Take the mic back. Good. Ask a question. Ask a direct question. I've already told in the starting, right?
All right.
Ask a direct question. Yeah.
All right. Excuse me.
Coordinators, please handle him. Ask. Switch on the mic. It's already switched on from this side. Just try it there.
Yeah. So I'll repeat. The visions and values of the candidate should be represented through the campaign. So this question is for both of you. How will you assure that your campaign does not go against the values of institute? Because I've seen trolls on trolls, blatant sexism, racism, including pages like IITM trolls who has no disregard.
Saket, take the mic back. Take the mic back. Take. Ask. Saket, remove him from the room. Remove him from. That is fine. Fine, thank you for joining the Soapbox. It was a nice Soapbox. You guys were really patient and maintained the decorum. That is fine. Thank you for joining the Soapbox. We'll conclude it now. Thank you so much.